going on, guys? Ooh, let's cut myself. The Koenig we sharpened earlier today in part 1 of Tom Sharpens Shit Friday. January 5th, we sharpened this Flipper Delete Koenig Arius 2 and 8000 grit 0.1 micron edge. Pretty cool. It's copper dust, bronze hardware. Now it's got a mirror. It looks way better. This thing's ergonomics are so much better than a normal Arius. This is like holding a native kind of instead of holding like, I don't know. I feel restricted on a normal Arius with the flipper. Like it gets in the way. So I'm really digging these Flipper Delete ones. Like, because you have to grip this like this. And it feels like this finger is like being forced backwards by the flipper when it wants to sit up here. So that's the one gripe I have with normal Arius, and this one solves that problem. So Flipper Deletes are dope. What we got going on here? We got Jordan joining us from the YouTube. Hi, Jordan. Welcome back. And we got Mailman Down EDC out delivering mail. Maybe. I don't know. Are you done? Are you still out? When do you start? And when do you end? How long is your day? Let me pin this. Always fun puzzle. There it is. Pin 2 featured. Okay. So, that's what we did earlier today. Sharpen this bad Mama Jamma. Pretty cool knife. What up, Wayne? Making some jerky. Start at 8. Oh, that's a late start for a mailman, isn't it? You guys in your silly military times, that's 5 o'clock, right? Yeah, okay, I see. So you're on the East Coast. You're in Georgia. So today we are going to swap the hardware on this pair of 3. Right now it says Aramis scales. It's a K390 pair of 3. I never carry. It's got black screws in it. I don't know if these are knives. Yeah, these are probably knives plus screws. Or they're factory screws. I don't know. Or a mix. But they're either factory or knives plus screws. And while this is great, this thing is kind of like has never been solid the way I want it to feel. It always kind of the screws back out. I never carry it because it always feels like kind of like chattery. And like the scales aren't screwed down tight. So we're going to swap these screws for these ones that Steve Ripplinger sent me from Riff's Garage Tech. These are titanium screws. They're just plain finished titanium, but I hear good things. So let's see if this makes this guy come together a little better than it is. But here it is. Here it is with my 400 grit edge. It's got a little mustard patina on it. K390. Cool knife. So now it's time to spice it up. Okay, first thing. We had T8. You got the body screw. It came right out. I didn't need pliers wrenches to hold the standoff, but if your standoff starts spinning, this starts spinning when you're trying to take this off. These are a huge help for disassembly. This one's fine though. This one I put together and it's all loose and goose and no problem coming apart. Wish they still made this mat. This mat is from BattleBox Shop. So if you guys want to bug them and tell them to bring it back, you should do that. BattleBox Shop. I get asked about this mat all the time when I use it. It's pretty great, actually. Other than just looking cool, it's pretty functional. Okay, so, we're going to need to find a lanyard tube. Bummer. Okay, this is my least favorite thing to do, and I don't know how a good way to do it is. On a pair of 3, and I don't know why it always does this, but it does it frequently. one side of the liner, like the notch, is not forgiving of getting this tube out. It won't slide out. It won't pop out. Sometimes I end up destroying it if it gets stuck like this. And you try to get it out without scarring it up. This one's black. So it means if I do anything to it, it leaves a mark. Take a screwdriver into it. Let's try to back it out. There we go. Pain in the ass. Before I forget, I have to get a new lanyard tube. Happen to have one or two in a bowl on my desk because I keep them around for some reason. So we'll see. Sometimes they have shitty flanges, and we'll pick the best one. So we take off presentation side first. Liner pops out. Be careful when you take apart knives. Pay attention to where your washer is. Usually it will be stuck to the blade on the presentation side, but sometimes it's stuck to the liner on here. If it is, just pay attention. Don't lose it. If you do lose it, you can buy new ones at Knives Plus or on Etsy. But yeah, don't lose your washers. They're important. And they're delicate, kind of. Okay. Continuing disassembly. We're taking all the hardware out. Now we work on the clip side. Always do presentation side first. And so now we got the standoff right here. It's a T8. It didn't spin. But if that started spinning and I couldn't pull it out, I'd use these guys to do it. Okay. Took out all of the black hardware. Oh, interesting. I have a piece of silver hardware in there, which I'm actually going to need. So the Rips Garage Tech hardware comes with a stop pin and the screws. So it comes with a stop pin and 7 screws, which means I still need to keep the factory standoff, which we have one. We need a silver tube, which I have an extra one of. And then we'll use these screws here. So I'll get these clip screws out using a T6. This MXG clip is not terribly hard to get the screw access to. It's a little bit easier than the Lynch clip. It's a little bit bigger hole. Lynch clip can get pretty tight sometimes trying to get screws in. It's got a bend on it also. So you have to like install a Lynch clip upside down to get it to sit right. Okay, popping the little clip screws out and holder. Okay, now we have a completely assembled knife. Look at our shit. Now starting, this is how you put a knife together. Starting with the clip side. No, clip side liner. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a washer. We're going to see what way has been rubbing it on. And it looks like I've had it rubbing on both sides at one point. And we're going to take a strop. I'm going to take the washer on the side it's been rubbing on, and I'm going to rub it down the strop and polish it up a little bit. This is extra credit to make the knife smoother. Okay. Now it's nice and shiny. Now we're going to take our pivot. And this is the most common problem I see on reassembly, is the pivot on one side, only on one side on a PM2 and a Para 3, is shaped like a D. It's got a flat spot in it, like subtle flat spot. It's almost hard to see. But when you see it, you recognize it. Like it's hard to see on camera. That's the flat spot. Flat spot goes in the clip side liner's hole. So just twist it until it pops into place. If you put this in upside down or you don't sit it all the way in, you can still put the knife together, but it gets all jacked up at the end, and you're like, what's going on? Why is it not like lining up? Why is nothing going together? Okay, let's dump out the Rips hardware. It is shiny. That's kind of cool. Go pivot screw. Clip side pivot screw is the first one that goes in. Oh, this is cool. They're all T8s. So Steve changed the hardware so they're all matching at T8. Very cool. Ooh, nice and snug, and I like it. Okay, stop. Then we're gonna go take our factory standoff and a body screw. And what I do is I hold the body screw with my finger. I don't try to twist the screw. I try to twist the standoff. So I hold the screw in place and then I twist the standoff onto it. And it seems to be a lot easier than trying to get a screw to sit. There we go. So now we got this side together. Put our stop pin in. And my least favorite part, we put a lanyard tube in. So on factory scales, usually putting a lanyard tube in is not a huge pain in the ass. On pair of threes, though, this stupid liner that's a little bit too small for the lanyard sometimes poses an issue. So if you have a really flared tube, some of them come more flared from the factory than others. There we go. Pop it in place. Just push down with some pressure. But if you have an extra flared tube, sometimes they're really tough to get in. And then luckily I have extra hardware. Okay, got that in. Now we're going to do a drop of oil, just a drop of Gunny Glide knife oil, pivot lube. One drop on the pivot. We're going to take our K390 blade and then we're going to put it in. Now we're going to take our other washer, find the side that's been wearing on the knife, which is this side, and we'll polish it up a little bit on a strop. Doing some circle strokes, back and forth, up and down, just trying to get the scratches out. And it ends up looking like shiny. Do a little more. Oop. Okay, this has never happened before. Okay. Draw out the washer. Found it. Woo! Maybe I'm not going to strop it anymore. I'm just going to put it on. Oh, forgot one thing. Need to drop a Gunny Glide on the other washer. Put it right on the pivot. Okay. Push the other washer on. Clip side line or presentation liner, presentation scale. Put them together, and then squeeze them on. As long as the tube allows for it to pop in place, you're just going to squeeze the knife together. Popped in place. We do our presentation screw first, or pivot screw first, and then we'll hold everything together. The reason we do this with this open, even though it's more dangerous, is when it's closed, it's compressing the clip or the compression lock, and it will pop open. So that's why we have to do this in the open position, where it seems more dangerous, which it is. So now we got a spinning screw trying to get this. Okay, is this tight? Okay. So now we're going to use, just going to squeeze the scales together, but it's still spinning. So now we're going to use Knipex plier wrenches because I can't get the back standoff to stop spinning. We're going to grip it right there on the standoff. These are really thin so they can get in between the scales. This will hold the standoff in place while I turn the screw. There we go. Now it's tight. Do the other side because my finger tightened it before. There we go. Needs to be dialed in. We have a knife together. Let's put the clip screws in before we dial it in all the way. Are these T8s as well? I think they are. Yeah, so Steve Ripplingers, Rips Garage Tech. These are titanium screws. We're putting in a pair of 3 with Aramis scales. Oh, I hope these screws are long enough for these scales. I didn't even think about that. Oh, crap. Uh-oh. Well, we're going to have to do different clip screws. So since these are Aramis scales, Aramis is old style scales. They're super thick. So you have to have special clip screws. And these ones only fit the normal scales are other custom scales, but they won't fit these scales, so we can't put those clip screws in, which is not a big deal. We'll just get some more clip screws. You don't really see them, so it's okay. So I have a big bag of clip screws somewhere. This is my bag of junk I'm digging through. Clip screws. Done a couple clips in my day. At one point, I owned over 100 MXG gear clips. I had so many fucking knives, and every single one of them had a clip. So I have several of different length screws in here. So MXG gear, when they send you their clips, they also anticipate you needing longer screws possibly, which is pretty cool. So they send 6 screws with their knives, and 3 of them are 1/4-inch screws, and the other ones are 3/16 screws long. So 1/4-inch screws will fit Aramis. These are grand scales. Fit 1/4-inch long T or 2-56 clip screws. So if you're trying to do an Aramis build, you need longer screws. And if you get it from MXG, it comes with longer screws, which is quite handy. His Raptor scales, Aramis, his newer style, they don't require long screws. They'll fit on the factory screw, the factory ones. They're thinner, and they don't have a big standoff for the clip. Okay, we're just getting these kind of like loose in there to make sure they're all lined up. So I loosen them. Now I adjust the clip to make sure it's where I want it, in the center. Now we're just going to tighten down the clip screws. Not too tight. You can strip these. These are just T6s I'm using, which sucks we couldn't use Steve's screws, but it's okay. We'll make it work. Okay. Save those in this bag special. Put all this crap away. Come on. Okay, we got all our clip screws put away. See how she feels. Okay, it's pretty good. It's got a little bit to loosen up, to drop. But our screws are 100% tight right now. Like, super tight. I'm going to take them all the way. Okay, screws are in there all the way. And, okay, now we're going to loosen up just a little tiny bit. The littlest amount you can. Like, there's a limit to how little you can do it. You want to do that much. Then we're going to do the other side. I think a lot of people only loosen one side. You should loosen both sides equally. So whenever I loosen the clip side, I loosen the presentation side too. We're getting there. Okay, so now we're at a stage where it's like you can kind of drop it shut. I'm going to take this screw in the body and loosen it just a little bit because it's 100% tight right now. And sometimes that will make it the rest of the way loose. Nope, got to do the pivot a little bit more. We're backing it out just the tiniest bit. We want it to retain as much traction in the threads as possible. There we go. We didn't have to back them out very far. This is Rips titanium hardware. Comes with the stop pin. Doesn't come with the standoffs. You have these factory standoff and lanyard tube. So this is like a screw kit with a stop pin. I like the looks of it. I was kind of getting sick of the black hardware, and this machined titanium looks cool. It's got like, you know, some machining lines to it. So it doesn't look factory. It looks actually like something's different. It's really nice looking. And it's all T8. Money. Maybe I can start carrying this knife now. Be nice. And then after this, I'll probably go through once I make sure it's where I want it. And I'll take Loctite. And this is a tip someone shared on the group. I forget who. You take a penny and you put a drop of Loctite on top of the penny and then mix it around. and it causes some kind of primered chemical reaction to like set the stuff off, or I don't know what it is, but it fucks the penny up if you leave it there. So it does something to the chemical makeup of it, and it helps stick the keep the Loctite sticking onto the stainless steel or titanium screws. So we got comments. Just deconstructed and cleaned out my pair of 3. Action became gritty. Turns out a Doberman hair for one of my 2 Dobies worked its way in. Yeah, they are sensitive. Well, that's good. It's fun to fix them. I get to disassemble my Native 5 lightweight MagnaCut when my AWT scales come in. That was Jordan. Nice. I like those scales, and that's a cool Native. I'm glad the Native is finally getting the recognition it deserves because it's a good knife. One moment, please. So yeah. Rips Garage Tech, titanium hardware, fits up well. Some hardware sucks to fit up. Some hardware you can't dial in. Loosen it up a tiny bit more. These are still very firmly seated. Like I'm trying to twist it, and it's so far in, it's like barely moving. There we go. It's very firmly. So yeah. Thank you all for joining me on my pair of 3 disassembly tour. Recap of what I use for tools. These are my drivers. They are Wiha soft touch, and they're really good for cranking Loctite out because they have this big handle. So the little stubby things like this costs almost as much as my entire set of these. And you can buy the individual ones for like a couple bucks. But one of these costs like 25, plus you have to make sure you have all the bits unless you buy the right one. That's the Boker one. And this is expensive for some reason. Anyway, this is a pain in the ass to use this short little throw and get this close to the knife. It's a pain in the ass to pull those magnet things out. They hurt my fingers. The stupid magnet bits every time you want to switch. You can buy a whole set of these nice cushion handled ones. This is the Wiha 36291 soft touch Torx driver set. Wiha 36291. I recommend this product more than anything. It has disassembled hundreds of knives have come through in this set of screwdrivers, and they're still kicking. So yeah, use these. Knipex ply wrenches can save your ass. This is the 125 millimeter. The code is 8603125 is the tool code. It is not the smallest size. There is a smaller size in this that doesn't have coated handles. This is really good for holding standoffs. It's also really good on factory scales for like crunching them back together if you're really careful. When I Loctite it, I'm using ProTech. This is not Loctite brand. This is from my RC car. The RC cars are so dependent on thread lock, and it's the same kind of crap. I assume it's good. I don't know. I don't know if it's better than the regular Loctite, but I'm trying it. Anyway, folks, appreciate you joining me, and we will do it again later this afternoon. Peace out. Have a good Friday.